Welcome to the Muxall Open IoT channel. I am your host, Michael Crane. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the fix in, or the two Bodge wires for the outside temperature that bounces around, 5 or 10 degrees. And I'm going to do it on beta unit 6 here. Now on beta unit 6, I'd already unsoldered the wires from the power supply. From the toggle switch right here. So and I was doing that so when I was diagnosing this problem in the previous video, it wasn't in the way. I could pull the boards out. So you'll have to remember yours are going to stay soldered on there, and you'll have to work with the boards basically connected by this wire. Unless you feel like unsoldering them, of course. So the first thing you want to do is remove the tie strap. Alright. And hopefully I don't go out of camera here. Okay, then just carefully pull the boards apart like that, or pull the high voltage board off. Now remember, yours is going to be still fastened on here, so you just have to set it, backwards, right? And we're going to be modding both these boards today. So, all right. So the next thing you want to do, and this is going to take some patience and care, because you do not want to damage the main PCB. But very carefully take a screwdriver and get it up under. Let's see. Make sure you can see it. Get it up under this main board right here, and very carefully get this main board loose from this plastic block right here. This plastic block is it's glued to the main PCB using this this electronics grade silicone RTV. I think it's called Celastic is like a brand name. It's like saying Kleenex, right? I think Celastic it's kind of generic term. Anyway, just kind of go around it, kind of pry and work, and be very careful. You don't want to damage any traces on the bottom of the board. Well, that's you don't want damage. You don't want to, put a big gouge through one of the traces in the board, because then it won't work at all. And then your goal is to get it loose so it pulls off like that. See? All right, and you don't want to pull it off the LCD right here, and we'll talk about that later. But once you get it pulled up like that, then you should be able to just... Oh, well, duh. Don't forget to pull the button, the knob off. Yeah, that usually helps. Okay, and set that off to the side. Okay, so now it should come up, and... Now remember, all these are going to be still connected in here. Yeah, you probably don't want to try pulling all these wires out and remembering where they go and everything. So just carefully pull the main PCB back like that. Yeah, probably a step before pulling this main PCB off is take something very small, lift this little, I don't know if you guys can see it okay, it's kind of a, I don't know what to call it, a catch. It's kind of like a seatbelt clasp, or maybe a clasp is a good word. Yeah, you kind of want to lift this clasp up to release the flat flex, but I have found by accident, it'll pull right out, unfortunately. So we've got the main board up, and we're going to be modding this side right. Let's see, where are we? I don't know if you guys can see that. We're going to be doing the second pin. You can see on the CSP board, I've been soldering wires on it to debug it. If you saw the other video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So we want this, and make sure to, whatever you need to do, make sure you mark which one it is. So it's the second one. It's the second one down right here. Okay, so we're going to be connecting from this pin right here, our ground pin, and we want to go to pin 2 over here, and we could use either pin 1 or pin 2 right here. But the reason why we want to use pin 2 is to give us a little bit more room to clear these. So first what we're going to do is we're going to strip off a piece of wire, I don't know, about 1/4 inch, and we're going to loop it using the very tip of your cutters. Just kind of loop it around like that. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Okay, so we're going to use the pliers right here to kind of crimp the loop and, you know, kind of make it nice and clean. And we're going to put that loop, I'm going to start from back here, okay? And we could try tightening it up on here. I kind of made it a little bit too big, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm gonna put it right there. All right, yeah, it's a little too big, so I'm gonna make this a tad smaller. Sorry, someone came in the lab while I was sitting there working. Okay. There we go. Yeah, all right. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to tighten up and while showing you guys this, this loop on this pin. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of flux on the end of this wire. All right. This is just liquid flux, MG Chemical rosin flux pen. And I'm going to put a little bit, I guess we could put some on this pin too. It probably didn't really need it, but I'll put them on both pins. I've been kind of messing around with this board quite a bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of extra solder. I'm not going to, usually I would pre-tin the wire then, but with the loop I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to add a little bit of extra solder there. I'm going to take my wire that has some flux on it, and I'm just going to push it down like that. Whew, that's getting hot. All right, that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to kind of route it. It's nice if you can kind of route it at angles. I am going to give a little bit of a bend that way, in case I screw something up, I have a little bit of wiggle room, right? So now so we're going to this pin right here, and I'm just cutting a little bit past it, like right there. All right, and I'm going to very carefully try to take not a 1/4 inch this time, maybe a little over 1/8. All right, so I've got the wire stripped, and I'm going to put another little loop in here. Okay, bend that around. Can you see that? And that's just going to fit right over. Well, there should be a pin there, but there's not a pin there. Oh, there is. There's a nub. Can you guys see that okay? All right. Oh wow, that thing actually stayed. Let me see if I can get some solder on there. Yeah, we might just got lucky on this one. Whoop. Okay. Well, that probably wasn't the cleanest in the world. So I got it too close to the positive, and I heated it back up, and I got it too close to the other pin now. Let me see how close I am here. Oh, it looks okay. I think there's a little bit of extra. There we go. Yeah, that looks okay. Yeah, that's gonna mess up our little you can see where the glue was holding that little that block. So that's going to get messed up a little bit. I might have to cut a little hole out for that. But yeah, that's okay. Alright, so we've got those 2 pins soldered. Now if I was doing this without shooting a video, I would have been done with both Bodge wires by now. Okay, so that's the main board Bodge wire needed. And so now we can put this guy back together. And first thing you want to make sure that the flat flex is pulled through this hole right here, because you don't want to put this thing back together without the flat flex. Your LCD will not work. Okay, then you're going to very carefully align the button, the knob, or the button shaft, or the button shaft, and once you get that aligned, it kind of goes together pretty good. Now you just line up all the headers. Okay, make sure that this little wire right here is for the LCD. Make sure it's not getting pinched by anything. You don't want the button to pinch it. You don't want the headers to pinch it. You want everything to slide down nice and evenly. So now we have to put the flat flex back in. This can be challenging if you've never done it before. Of course, everything is microscopic on this, so it's always good to have a good pair of eyeballs like this, or even a microscope. Okay, so now we're going to put the flat flex in, and I usually use tweezers, or you don't want to damage the flat flex, although it is fairly resilient. But you kind of want to I don't know how to describe it. So the flat flex has to kind of go like that into the connector. So you can't bring it in at an angle. It's got to go. So it's up. You got to get it flat and then slide it in. And I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but probably not. So it's got to go under these little guides. It's got little guides to guide the flat flex in and keep it straight. And believe me, you do not want crooked flat flex. Wow, that just popped right in there. Look at that. Anyway, so whoa, now it just popped right back out. I'm trying to hold it and so you guys can see what I'm doing. This will be easier if you're not shooting a video. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm just pushing it up with my fingers, and then with my other finger I'm just going to push the little catch down like that and hold it in. And I'm going to very carefully take, you probably should take something not sharp like the screwdriver. This is probably not a good idea, but anyway, I'm just pushing on that catch to make sure it's down all the way, okay? And you can kind of tell, and you want to make sure, let's see, can you guys see that okay? Yeah, you want to make sure that it looks square. If it looks like it's angled, then that's, just pull it out and redo it. If it looks, there should only be not even a, let's see, how wide is this thing? Oh, I can't read it. Maybe a couple millimeters sticking out. You want most of it inside the connector. So you just want just a little bit, and you'll see it. It'll push it in there and it'll stop. You want to push it all the way until it stops, and then push the catch down, right? And there you go. So that's in. So okay, so that's the flat flex. And make sure when you're working on this, I might have said this earlier, I don't remember, that you put the board on a piece of electrical tape like this. That keeps keeps pressure off the push button and also keeps it off the toggle switch. You don't want to damage those as you're pushing and prying and doing things. Alright, Try not to yank on these wires too much, although they are fairly hard to pull out. It is possible. And you want to make sure that these wires don't cover these headers right here, because it's got to be enough room to put the male counterparts of them back in, right? So, all right. Okay, so that's the Bodge for that guy, Bodge wire on that guy. Now we're going to do this is the high voltage board. And so if you look on the high voltage board, let's see, can you guys see that? Maybe. Now remember, your high voltage board is still going to be connected to your main board right there, right? So hold your high voltage board up. Let me see. I'm trying to look in the camera and make sure that you can see what I'm looking at. So you'll see a plus and a minus, a plus VO and a minus VO on this side. On the minus VO side, flip it over, and the minus pin is this guy right there, the second one. And not this first one. The first one is +5. This is negative. Okay, so now we've identified the ground pin on here. We want to, we're going to bring it up to the second pin on the same side. So it'll be that guy. So the second pin on the bottom, the second pin on the top. All right? Yeah, because remember we didn't use the first one. And these two pins aren't connected to anything. They're there just for a mechanical strength, holding this board on. All right. Okay. Okay, so this wire is going to be much simpler than the other side. So take out your handy dandy wire stripper, strip off, I don't know, maybe a little over 1/4. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. You can still use your wire cutters, but I mean, or you can use, you know, some small pliers. We're gonna just make ourselves a little loop like that. Okay, and we're gonna slip it down over that ground wire. Why isn't that going down? Oh, there's some excess solder on there. I wondered why it wasn't going down. I'm looking at this thing going, why isn't it going down? I got a little bit of excess solder. Oh, sorry, you probably can't see what I'm doing, can you? I'm just kind of, oh, there we go. Oh, that looks better. I just want it down flatter. So now what I'm doing, I'm just going to tighten it up around that wire. Like that. You guys see that okay? Let me see. You see that? All right. And yeah, so that's pretty nice right there, right? That's going to be a piece of cake to solder. So I'll get the solder out here, and go ahead and make sure you guys can see. Yeah. There we go. All right. Got the solder on there. Make sure nothing's bridged over to the other pins. Okay. Okay. So now we just need to route it over to the other side. You know, I always like giving a little bit of slack, or extra I should say. And, you know, just in case, right? Well, I don't know, that might be a little too much extra. It'll be alright. Yeah, maybe I'll cut a little piece off. Okay. And luckily this wire is long enough, you can use your strippers, it's real easy. Just to kind of get those down on there. Like that. Alright, put our loop in it. sorry, can you guys, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. A little loop like that. And I bring it around, put it over the pin. Maybe. I'll have to get down there and be one with it. There we go. All right. That's nice and big right there. Look at that. All right. Now let's tighten it up a little bit. Try to do this where you guys can see. Oh yeah. You see that okay? Let's tighten it up, make sure it's not hitting either side of the pins. It's holding on to that wire nice and tight. Actually, it could probably be tightened up. No, that's probably okay. Now we're just going to put a little solder on that guy. Make sure you don't create any solder bridges. Like that. Now what's nice about this guy right here, where we don't have to worry about it being flat or anything, because the board only goes into those headers. I mean, these pins only go into the headers about that far, right? So you can, I don't know if you can see it. I can kind of see the wear on it. So yeah, we've got plenty of room to work with. So yeah, that's whoops. I was gonna say you could make it look a little neater. See, that doesn't look too bad. And if you really wanted to get fancy with it, you could put a little dab of hot snot or you know, hot glue right there. That'll make sure it stays in place. But I don't know. That looks pretty good. I don't think we need it. So excellent. Okay. Now, the last step before I forget, you do want to make sure you straighten up this pin right here that I bent. And you're not going to bend yours. I was just showing you which pin to use. Hold on. There you go. Okay, so you remember how we found the first pin, right? So you go to negative, flip it over, down, this pin right here. In other words, where we first put the first Bodge wire on, we're going to clip that pin like that. Okay? Basically what we're doing is we're bypassing that pinch point and bringing the wire all the way up to the front right here, to this front pin, this unused pin that the second one, that unused second one we're using. And then we tied the second one into the ground over here. And it was kind of like, if you watch the previous video diagnosing it, it's the same thing as when I just connected a wire from right here. So I powered it. We could power it from this header right here, but I had to move the ground over here because of the pinch point in the flood fill, right? So that's all I'm doing. I'm just bypassing, bringing it up here, because we tested that and we know that works. So that's why I clipped that pin off. We don't want to create any ground loops or any bad, star ground is best, right? So yeah, so we're gonna bring it up in here, and then it'll feed all back down that flood fill. All right, and this will be its only return path. We don't want two return paths, right? So, okay. Don't forget, you can support the Muxall Open IoT channel by donation using a credit card and PayPal, or by purchasing products at the Muxall store. Details and links are in the description under this video. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, that helps, and hit the subscribe button. That really helps. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments under this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.